Welcome to the Sweat Sanctum podcast, where we talk fitness of the mind, body, and soul. Now here's your host, Coach Tom.
What's up, fam? Coach Tom and Coda here. We are back at you. It's been a hell of a week here in Central Florida. It's Monday, just past noon right now. I haven't gotten my workout in yet, so you'll see me sipping coffee as we go through things. I'm getting ready to get a little outdoor workout in. Last week, we're a month or so into quarantine, a little over a month, and started losing my mind a little bit last week, getting a little down, letting it beat me up, and just wasn't feeling it. I kind of had enough. I know Kim was feeling the same way. We're both just fed up with quarantine. We want to see people. We want to, be involved. We're done with it. We've had enough, but we understand, the need for quarantine and all that. So this big thing this past week actually, we celebrated our 1 year anniversary. So we had a little nice at-home celebration together. Got some Seasons 52. I had a nice steak on Monday night, a couple glasses of champagne. Ate a year-old cake, which that did a number on my stomach, but it was still as delicious as I remember it being on our wedding night. And this past Saturday, I celebrated my 35th birthday. So that was a trip, used to going out and doing something special on the birthday. And I was kind of woke up feeling down that, gonna spend the day inside, not anywhere we could really go. But Kim just did an awesome job. Taking care of me and make me feel special on my birthday, and I really appreciate the lengths she went through. We started the day up with an awesome skillet breakfast, skillet corned beef hash, eggs, the whole thing. That was phenomenal. I love when she makes that. One of my favorite meals to indulge on. Cody, you having fun today? Cody's getting a little wild, and we hung out, did a couple things. We went out, around, I want to say like 5 o'clock. We went to my favorite sushi place, Aoki, which we found out they were open. So picked up a bunch of sushi from a local place, found out, checked in on them, saw how they're doing, was very happy to see that they're still up, running, getting the food out there for people to eat. And, surprise, Kim said, let's go walk Coda. And we went to walk the little guy, and cars just started pulling up. And thank you to all the friends and fam that came from far and wide and had a little car parade for me on my birthday. Showed up with some gifts. I got pelted by water balloons. I got pelted by candy. Y'all left in my neighborhood a mess, but I cannot tell you how full my heart was that every one of you showed up, that Kim thought to do something special like that. I think she knew that I was we were supposed to be on a cruise, so I think she knew I was kind of feeling down during the week, and it really just lifted up my spirits and revitalized me and got my head back in the game, because I was starting to let things get the best of me and let the quarantine get the best of me. So that's pretty much our weekly update, but it was just really a phenomenal Saturday. Again, thank you everybody that showed up. Love you guys. Made it real special for me and kind of got me back on track for today. Last week was gloomy, and that was, I think, kind of messing with my psyche a little bit. And today, I think we're sitting in the 70s right now here in Florida. The sun is shining, so I'm looking forward to getting back out to the park, getting a little workout in. And obviously, that's what we talk about here. We talk about working out, we talk about fitness, and we talk about getting in shape. And what I want to touch on today is when I hear people tell me that, doing workouts at home are killing my gains and really killing my goals, and I can't really, I can't get in shape because I can't challenge myself. I don't find, doing things at home challenging. So I'm gonna go through the movement patterns and look at how we can challenge them. So, if you didn't know, there are, maybe this first you're hearing, there's 7 foundational movement patterns. So take a quick pause and see if you can, pause this right now, it's your homework, pause and see if you can name those 7 foundational movement patterns to yourself. Write it down real quick before we dive into everything. If you write down bicep curls, you're fired. That is not one of them. It falls into one of the patterns, but we're looking at the 7 foundational movement patterns. Now, the first one and some people call them 7 primal movement patterns, But the first one I'm going to touch on because this is what most people are doing. We're going to just gloss over it right now. But a lot of people, because we're in quarantine, you can only focus on gait, and that's running. You focus on gait, that's one of the foundational movement patterns. A lot of people are doing a lot of running, and it's great to see. You're keeping your cardio up. And I'm not going to make this a big focus, but I love seeing everybody running. Make sure you're challenging your running. Don't just be doing endurance runs every day. Mix in a lot of sprints. Sprints are a great way to challenge, and not just your aerobic system, your anaerobic system. Get your heart rate up. You're also going to build a lot of muscles through the lower body, through the core. When you're sprinting, you're going to recruit more muscle fibers, burn more fat, and I highly recommend doing as much, not as much sprinting as you can, but getting out there. 2, probably no more than 2. If you're feeling, your recovery game is strong, getting out there, 3 the max and doing some max effort sprints. I'm not talking about a little jog to the end of the field. I'm talking about find a field where you can go for a long distance and take it as hard as you can, as hard as possible. You're getting chased by a tiger, you're getting chased by a cheetah, and run as hard as you can. A sprint is not just like, all right, I'm going to go to that cone over there, and I'm going to pull a U-turn, and I'm going to jog back. You should not be able to, for a true sprint, you should not be able to jog back. You should really need to take a maximal recovery, spike your heart rate to the brim, bring it back down. So the best way to challenge gait right now, I'm going to say, is going into some sprint action along with the endurance runs I'm seeing everybody doing. Now, what are our other 6 that we focus on? The ones that I'm going to really touch on today are, you've got your push, your pull, and your rotate. Push, pull, rotate. Leg wise, we're looking at lunge, hinge, and squat. So along with gait, those make up the 7 foundational movement patterns. So how can we, in quarantine, and knowing that equipment is limited, knowing that workspace is limited, I'm working out of primarily a park and an apartment right now. So how can we challenge each of those? And I'll start, right off the bat, I'm going to start with push, because that's where I opened up before. So we'll start with the uppers and push. So looking at the major push exercises, you're going to have a shoulder press and a chest press as 2 big push exercises that you see a lot. So looking to challenge a shoulder press, I'm going to look for tempo. Tempo's a big one. I see a lot of people when we're doing workouts, we're looking for, should I do 12 reps? And my 12 reps, 8 reps, 6 reps is a lot different than 6, 8, and 12 that I see a lot of other people doing, because I use when I'm doing presses, I use an extremely slow phase on the way up and an extremely slow phase on the way down. It's the only way I get my shoulders feeling feeling rocked, and it's the only way I get a good burn out of the shoulders is by taking the tempo extremely slow. And you can use that with the chest press as well. Another one is going to be making some isometric holds and making some hold patterns while you're doing them. Static holds. So we're looking at, a push. Say, you don't have any dumbbells and you're doing push-ups at home. How can you make that push-up more challenging? Knock out a push-up, hold a high plank position at the top. Knock out 5 push-ups, hold your elbows in real close to the body, hold that position. Let the chest pump a little bit at the bottom before going into your next set of push-ups. But really get that hold pattern going. You can come up against a wall and you can find something immobile. Obviously, don't get a wall or a door that you can push open or break something. But find a hard wall and drive through your chest as hard as possible while you're pushing your body into it, and really, really grind on that chest. Another one you can do is just a static hold. Just pump up that chest muscle and squeeze. Squeeze as tight as you possibly can, and that's going to really, really hit those push muscles. So for shoulders, I'm going to recommend going something tempo and a lot of isometric holds when you're working your pushes, or when you're working your push-ups. Then we look at our pull motions. It's going to be the same thing. A lot of people, when I see, we have access to a TRX. Maybe you've got a park in your neighborhood where you can grab that, grab a handlebar, come under it, pull yourself up. I'll do a little video of that one later, but pull yourself up on it. Now, don't just bust through 12 reps. Pull yourself to the top of that bar, really tense up the lats. Try to hold yourself there. If you can feel the lats working and you're holding yourself out of the top, you might get more out of holding that position for 30, 40 seconds and then doing a slow drop, 1 rep of that, than you get through busting through 8 reps and really like speeding through and hustling and grinding on it, you know, you'll feel, you might not feel as sweaty or as a cardio pump as you're doing there. Get that from your sprints. But holding that is going to really put that muscle under tension. And I think time under tension is really something that a lot of people do not focus on enough. It's always how many reps can I get out, and quality over quantity, man. Just squeeze the reps, squeeze the muscle group, really feel that burn. Really feel that burn. You can do that with rings. You can do it with TRX straps, and really slow down the tempo on the way down. Hold as much as you can up top. Slow down the tempo as you're going back. The same can be said, it's a little harder to do, but if you're a person that struggles with doing pull-ups or chin-ups, I highly recommend getting yourself something like a perfect pull-up bar, and maybe a set of resistance bands. You want the long resistance bands, not many bands, but if you put one of those resistance bands over a pull-up bar, throw your feet in, throw 1 foot in, throw 2 feet in, you can kind of adjust your weight depending on how you bend your knees. You can take some of that tension off, and you can adjust how much that band is helping you out. And while you're there, if you struggle with pull-ups, use that band to help you to the top. Now, lift the legs up a little, release the tension from the band. That help the band is giving you, the assistance. Take some of that assistance away. Now go slow, back down to the ground. Put your feet up in the band again to get the tension back. Use it to help you on the way up, and you're working the negative side. You're working that way down, and that's going to build up strength. I think it's a lot of, I think that's one of the missing pieces in the chain when somebody tries to do pull-up or chin-up training and tries to learn pull-ups and chin-ups at the beginning, is that they grab a bar and they struggle their way through, and you don't just go and pick up a 225-pound bench press when you first start. You work your way through it, but you're 225 pounds, you're trying to do a pull-up, you jump right into it. You know, you can use a pull-down machine, but right now we don't have gyms, so how do we do that? We use a band, and we give ourselves some assistance and work through the negative range of the motion, and I guarantee you start doing those are going to scale up your pull-up in a phenomenally fast amount of time. So, I was going to go into rotation next, but I think I'm going to leave to rotation last and jump back there just because I want to, there's a little more focus on there and how we can incorporate some of the other things that we're going to talk about. So, coat almost fell. Let's take a seat, buddy. So I'm going to have some sip of coffee. Coffee's getting me through quarantine, y'all. Coffee is saving the day. So we're looking at our leg motions. Now, also, we go to the squat. You can use the same tactics that we've been talking about when you look at your squat. You can do holds, do slow tempo, but we can also do the reverse. So one thing I want to hit on with the squat is if you want to really build up your squat, find a really steady wall, just like we did on the push-up and on the push. Find a rock-solid wall. Get on your back, bring your legs up, feet flat against the wall, and try to drive that wall away from you as hard as you can before you start sliding back. Try to push the wall away. You're not moving back, but you're keeping maximum tension on those quads as you drive through that wall. Driving through the full foot, trying to push that wall away from you. This is going to blow up your squat. If you're not there yet, if you don't feel good doing that, you can do a squat hold on a wall, little isometric hold. You can do a body weight squat. Try to keep the knees behind the toes, sit nice and deep to it, to where the thighs are parallel to the ground. Hold that position, and I'm just getting ideas now that I'm going to just hit you with a video for each and every one of these coming up later. But hold that position. Now, also, when we go into that, we have the opposite. Squats are great to work what we call VBT, velocity-based tension. So velocity-based training. And when you're looking at velocity, we're looking at speed. So we see a lot of people, when you go to a squat, they add in a jump squat. And a lot of times that jump squat is just them going down and kind of popping off the floor. Your goal here is to train your velocity. So come down deep into that squat, explode up. Once you can explode nice and clean, start driving your knees into your chest while you're up there. Come down deep, soft landing, explode again. This should be an explosive movement. It shouldn't just be a hop off the ground. When you're doing a jump squat, put some firepower behind it. It's velocity training. We're trying to train you to be powerful. that's going to drive your heart rate up. It's going to take those body weight. You can't do 100 body weight squats at home. If you put full velocity in it, there's no way you can do 100 body weight jump squats at home without really getting a good ass whooping. And that's what we're looking for, ways to get you a good ass whooping while you're doing training like this. So you can throw that into the push-up too. I mean, if you're feeling comfortable with your push-up pattern, explosive through the top range of that push-up, and maybe you get really good at it, throw in a clap. And now you're adding power training and you're getting that velocity, and that's going to really ramp up these quarantine type workouts as you go through them. Hinge pattern, that includes our deadlifts and our hip bridges. So when you're working a deadlift and a hip hinge, it's the same muscle group. You're firing up the hamstrings, you're firing up the glutes, you get a good amount of work out of the core. So with the hip bridge, I mean, I've been doing hip bridge holds, and I think my spine is, after years of overtraining and beating up on my spine, doing heavy deadlifts, I think the work in the hip hinge and the hip bridge and doing holds at the top is really providing me a lot of rehab on my back that I've been neglecting. So holding at the top end of that pattern, and kind of like I talked with the push-up before, you can introduce those hold patterns and those iso holds into ways that you can introduce them into pyramids. So do one full hip bridge, hold it at the top, 5 more hip bridges, hold it at the top, 10 more hip bridges, hold it at the top. You tell me your glutes aren't pumping if you work your way up to 15 and back down that pyramid, you're gonna be a little crazy. You could do a little velocity-based training there. You could come up explosively, hold at the top, release real slow, get the time under tension. Again, don't just rush through them. If you look like, Cota when he's humping something, then you're not going to get maximal benefits out of that. You want to really explode, slow it down, recover, feel it out. And, deadlifts, that's one of the big hinge movements. It's going to be hard to recreate at home. So you don't want to, with the deadlift, you want to go heavy. You always want to go heavy with the deadlift, really get powerful. Some people, you don't have equipment, it's going to be a lot harder to do that when you're at home. So right now I'm working with a 35, a 53, and a 70-pound kettlebell, and I use all three weights with something a little bit different on a hinge pattern. So for my 35s, they're not going to really give me the strength work I need, so I use them really to focus on form, to take it really slow, exceptionally slow tempo. I'm talking about like a 5-second down and then a 2-second pause on the way back up. Or 2-second pause at the bottom. Really stretch out the muscles in the hamstrings. I've got really tight hams, so me going down at that slow 5, the hold at a 2, and then I vary the way back up. Sometimes if I'm going for a little more explosive work that day, like I'm gonna do today, I'm probably gonna pop up hard, fast out of that position, a 1 count up or an explosive count up, or I take it slow on the way back up and then slow on the way back down. Again, that just depends on what my goal is that day with the training type I'm doing. The 53 I found is my sweet spot on swings right now. I'm trying to work up to 70, but 53 really gets me my cardio burn. It gets me my cardio burn, and it also gives me some work through the glutes, through the hamstrings, through the core. I can keep it going for a long enough time that I can't do the 70 at just yet, but it really, rocks my world. So I add a little bit of speed in there, and I make it more of a cardio explosive type of movement. The 70, I use that for, just bringing in real slow tempo with a pop at the top. I try to explode that 70 up at the top, feel the stretch, pop it up. That's more my heavy weight. That's what I work on my normal tempos with. So, I mean, you can, with tempo training on deadlifts, you can use all different sizes and find something that's really going to give you a good burn there. So take advantage of tempo and holds at the bottom on deadlifts. Lunge, because it's very similar to the other two, you're looking at explosive and tempo again. Lunges, I love to hold them. I'll do a set of 10 lunges each leg, 10 lunges, and I'll hold that lunge position, preferably with a little bit of weight. And I find that's great to stretch out the muscle at the end. I love mixing in stretches while I'm working out now because I'm warm. The muscles are already activated. I've taken them to the end range of motion, and I just go in there and I keep that mechanical tension on my lunge, and I hold that position, and it really, really fires up my legs nice and good. And the opposite, we're looking at, I can add explosives in. I can add walking lunges. Walking lunges are just brutal. You find yourself a long stretch of field, walk all the way down it, and walking lunges, and then mix it in the sprint on the way back from a walking lunge is absolutely going to just destroy you. So that's how I'm keeping my lunges nice and fresh. And then rotation, man. Rotation, that's our last one. And man, I feel like we don't give enough credit to rotation, because rotation is something where I find is a weak point in my chain. Oh, sorry about that. Just almost took a spill. So I find rotation is one of my weak points. So I'm doing a ton of rotation. I do that. I've got a sandbag at home, but obviously not everybody owns a sandbag. Don't blame you for not wanting to keep a 60-pound sandbag in your living room. But with rotation, it's another one people like to rush through. And looking at one of the main rotation exercises you see, it's the feet on the ground. Feet on the ground, shoulders are up, you're in a sit-up position, just holding in the middle, and you're rotating. And I see a lot of people like to hold whatever weight they're using and bring it out far. And when you're doing that, you're engaging the arms. You're not really twisting the torso, and you're not getting that rotation. So pin your weight right to your chest, slow it down, slow rotate. You can also lean real deep into that rotation, lean back into the sit-up, then get your rotation from there. That's going to get a nice burn on it. You can mix rotations in with lunges. Now, when you look at rotation, everybody thinks I have to rotate something, but what if you did the opposite? What if you went anti-rotation? So if you own a long resistance band, you can wrap it around something, bring your arms nice and straight while you've got a little bit of tension on that band. You can rotate it away from the wall. You can twist your body away from the wall. But what you can also do is straighten the arms out nice and long, step further away from that wall, let that band try to pull you in, and feel your ab muscles do the work for you to resist that rotation. If you go the wide stance, it's going to be a little easier. You bring your stance a little closer. It's going to be harder to fight that twist, fight that turn, and your abs are going to be rocked. They're going to be absolutely torn up. I love doing anti-rotation now, because you're building spinal stability. You're building strength through your spine. That's going to pay dividends in your chest press, in your deadlift, in pretty much everything you can do if you can fight that rotation in there. And all you have to do is wrap a band around and hold it and fight the urge to let it turn you. So rotation, I think you can mix it into pretty much everything we've already talked about. Push-ups, you come to the top of that push-up, you mix in a little high rotation, bring the arm up and overhead, twist in the shoulders, take it nice and slow. Time under tension from that rotation. And rotation is such a key thing, because rotation is the one that's going to get you when you least expect it. If you got kids at home, your 2-year-old's crawling around on the floor, and you go to pick him or her up, and you twist in the wrong way because you're not thinking about it. You're not thinking about picking up a 2-year-old like you're thinking about lifting weights. And you twist. I've done this with Coda before. You twist. He's 9 pounds, and I twist the wrong way, and I go to pick him up, and there I tear out my entire. It's like a baseball bat hits you in the back, and you're just all the wind sucked out of you, and you just feel like intense shock, misery for a couple seconds there. And it probably stays with you 2-3 days, depending on how fit you are, how fast you recover. And it sucks. It's debilitating. And I hate when that happens. So training rotation right now, I think it's like something you can do at home and take full advantage of working on a weak point. Rotation, anti-rotation, building it up. So those are my big ways to challenge things at home and really step up your game with your at-home workouts and make them work harder for you, and get some challenge out of the muscle. Hopefully we're not too much longer into quarantine, and you can take some of these tips into your training, especially not rushing through reps, quality over quantity. We'll talk a little bit more about tempo next time, because I think it's huge and disrespected. I think so many people just rushing through reps, but that's a story for another day. I'm talking a little fast now. That means the coffee has kicked in, and it is Coach Tom's turn to go get his workout in. The sun is still shining. It's a beautiful day here in Central Florida. I'm back on track. I think I might have to go take somebody for a walk before he gets his afternoon nap. So I'll leave you with that. Gate, push, pull, rotate, lunge, hinge, and squat. Make sure you're working all those patterns at home. They are foundational. They are primal. We have been doing them since the dawn of time, and those are the ones that really are the basis of every workout you do. Make them work for you. Make them stronger, and you're going to end up stronger in the end. Colton, I love you guys. Kim sends her love too. Thank you for spending this 20-something minutes with us, and I'll see you back real soon, y'all. Keep smiling.